So people talk a lot nowadays about the wealth inequality and how 1% of the population owns something like 95 or even 99% of the wealth. But did you know that it's not only in wealth that you have this relationship, it's also in dating. And it's something that I like to call the dating inequality, where you have the top 1% of guys and they're essentially getting access to 99% of the women, while the 90 or 99% of the guys are stuck here on the bottom and they're barely getting anything. And this is not talked about as much, but it's equally as important, because social isolation, loneliness, these things are as dangerous as poverty and having no money. So we need to address this, and we need to address this now. These things are only getting worse, because back in the day, for women to go and meet men, they had to go out in the real life and interact with men. Nowadays, if you're a girl, you can go on apps or you can go on Instagram and you have 100 guys messaging you left and right. You go on Tinder, you have 100 guys messaging you. You go on Instagram, you have 100 guys messaging you. You have all this attention. Plus nowadays, you don't need to rely on a guy to make money. If you're a girl, you can make money on your own and you don't need a guy to provide for you. So if you can make your own money and you have all this attention from all these other guys, then obviously the motivation to date is become a lot less, right? So a lot of girls are okay being single, they're okay not dating anyone. They can survive for themselves. And also on top of that, the social skills of guys have gone down, because again, nowadays we live in the phone society, so everything's on their phones. So when they meet a guy in real life, a lot of times they're so nervous and so awkward that they don't even want to date any guys anymore. So for most women, they'll rather choose to be single than date someone just for the sake of dating them. And that's what happens. These women choose to be either single or date the top 1% of guys who are confident, charismatic, know how to flirt. That's why the guys on 1%, they have all these options, all this abundance, and then the guys on the bottom don't have anything. And the cycle is just getting worse, because more and more people are moving to the internet, and at the same time the social skills of the population are going down. So then you might ask, well, what is the solution? How do you get from being in the bottom all the way to the top 1%? Well, just like in wealth, it's not easy. It takes a lot of work. However, I can tell you is that I made this jump from the bottom 99% of the guys to the top 1% of guys. Back in the day, I used to have no dates, or I would have dates every few months, and now I have multiple dates per week. Back in the day, I would messaging all these women and I would get no responses. But nowadays, oftentimes I wake up with 3, 4, 5 women messaging me and we're talking about meeting up. So your life can change massively. And I want to reiterate that you can make this jump, because I've seen this possible with me and with other guys. However, how do you do it? First of all, it's definitely not going to be easy, because that's what everyone wants. But essentially what you need to improve, you need to improve your dating social skills, your confidence, charisma, flirting abilities, social skills, and most importantly, the amount of action you take when going out and meeting women. The guys who are in 1%, they're extremely sure of themselves, they're very charismatic, they know how to handle a situation, they know how to lead a conversation, and most importantly, they go out there and actually go and meet women. And if you're not doing those things, then you cannot wish to get into this 1%, and you cannot just get there by reading books or watching videos or doing some mindfulness meditation. That's not how you get there. You get there just by putting real amount of work. However, there is some good news. It's not all bad news. And the good news is that this is 100% in your control. You're not limited by your looks. You're not limited by your location. There is no limitation here. You yourself have the complete control to make things happen. This is mostly about your soft skills, and your soft skills can be improved. It takes a massive amount of action, very strategic amount of action, but it can be improved. If you don't believe this, then this is a belief you need to adopt, because without this belief, you will not take action, and if you don't take action, you will not get results. However, for you to get to 1%, you don't need to become a rock star. You don't need to make billions of dollars. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. Even if you became a jacked bodybuilder millionaire, it wouldn't even guarantee you get into this 1%, because those things don't get you in the 1% of men who get all these dating opportunities. So stop worrying about the wrong things. Start worrying about your social skills. And again, the good news is that you fully control this. There is no limits. The only limit is yourself. So if you're tired of being in the bottom 99% of guys who are not getting any results in their dating, it's time to start taking action.